Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Another beautiful day here in the sunny side of Western Mass. Today is, of course, Thursday, July 10th, 2014. I'm Andrew. Thank you for watching this video. Now, today what I really want to talk about is I want to talk about whether or not the whole story about Obama being gay is that really important, is my question. Is it really all that important whether or not Obama is gay and whether Michelle is tranny? Now, if you haven't heard about this, Joan Rivers came out, a big media personality, a comedian. She came out and she said, well, everybody knows that Obama's gay. And also, as she walks off, she says, Michelle Obama is a tranny. Now, is this really important? And how she says this makes it sound like she wasn't kidding. She went on CNN later on, about a day or two later. She said she was just joking, that it was a joke, and everybody should just laugh it off. The CNN host, of course, was extremely rude, incredibly rude to Joan Rivers, and actually was so rude to the point where Joan Rivers had to leave, had to take off. But of course, as I said earlier, Joan Rivers played it off like it was a joke. However, when you actually watch the video and you actually hear what Joan Rivers has to say, it doesn't really sound like she's joking. It doesn't really sound like this is just a ha-ha type of thing she was saying about Obama, about Michelle Obama as well. Now, the question is, though, is it really all that important? No, it's not. It's not important at all. It's only important if this was the only scandal Obama has been involved in. And what I mean by that is, let's say, figuratively speaking, everything that Obama has done, he said he was going to do during the election. Let's put it out there, Obama really is an American citizen and was never born in Kenya. Let's just theorize that that was the case. Well, this would be a huge story. This would be huge simply because it would show that Obama has not told the truth about his identity, nor has Michelle Obama, nor has his children. However, with the immigration issue, with the ATF issue, with Obamacare, with the economy, where the economy is, the bailouts, the continued bailouts. I don't want to get Obama confused with Bush and so on and so forth. The point is the continued bailouts, the housing crisis going into overdrive right now. You have severe issues that's going on with the economy, and right now retail stores all over the place are saying, wait a minute, we're not doing so well. And oh yeah, by the way, you guys said earlier that it was the weather we weren't doing so well. Is the reason why we weren't doing so well? It's actually not the weather. Sorry guys, we're sorry that we lied. We're very sorry. And of course, a major European bank also went bankrupt. Let me go ahead and do a quick search. I forget the name of the bank. I was listening to Gregory Manarino's video earlier today, and he simply puts it that this could be possibly the next Lehman moment, that this new banking crisis that's going on in Europe right now could possibly be the beginning of a 2008 redux, 2008 2.0. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to look this up real quick. Let's see. And oh, by the way, there's also continued banker deaths that are going on as well. We have another banker who had died from apparent suicide, and he was, of course, a J.P. Morgan executive. His name was Julian Knott at age 45. So, of course, Julian, rest in peace, and may God have mercy on your soul. I can't seem to find this story. Europe tumbles as bank loses all of 2014 gains. So this apparently, let's see what bank it is. Well, anyways, I'm just going to go ahead and put it on in the description link. So it's important You have the Portuguese bonds are struggling. You have U.S. bonds are struggling as well. So, of course, pretty soon you should see interest rates start to rise. Gold and silver have been rising lately, and it looked as though today we also saw a spike in oil for the first time in about a week or two, when oil was testing the $110 level. But you have an escalated crisis going on in Israel, between Israel and Hamas. You also have the continued situation over in Ukraine and Russia. Those two war theaters will be very interesting in the following weeks. That will most certainly trigger higher oil prices, as well as higher gold and silver prices as well, platinum, palladium, so on and so forth. So, as you could tell, everything that's gone on this year has happened back in 2007. It looks like we're actually seeing the beginning stages of what we saw in 2008 taking place right now. As I mentioned earlier, mortgages are going down. As I mentioned earlier, retail sales are absolutely struggling, not doing well. Of course, continued wars. Of course, continued quantitative easing, and we really haven't been able to taper at all, or we haven't tapered at all. As a matter of fact, the Fed is coming out and saying that we're tapering, but are allowing or forcing Belgium to buy some of the U.S. Treasury bonds to make it appear as though they're tapering, but interest rates continue to stay low. So, think about it this way: if they taper, then interest rates have to go up. They have to go up because interest rates as low as they are right now does not reflect the real economy. Now, if interest rates were allowed to skyrocket, that would then connect to what is really going on in the real economy. What we see in the stock market, what we see in bonds, what we see in gold and silver, what we see in all these other markets, we're seeing a reflection of the economy from within Wall Street, from within the central banks, not just the Federal Reserve or some of the other central banks around the world, but the J.P. Morgans of the world, the Bank of Americans of the world. But that's starting to change, is what I'm saying. We're starting to see a transition from Main Street struggling and having a horrible time throughout this entire depression. And I'm not calling it a recession anymore. It's a depression. Let's just get that out of the way. We're seeing a transition from that all the way to now the financiers, the Wall Streets of the world. And of course, this isn't just going to stay in America. This is also going to go global. Europe is going to struggle with this. As I mentioned earlier, there's a banking crisis that's ongoing there. Gregor Manarino says it could possibly be, not sure yet, but it could possibly be the next Lehman. So we'll have to take a look at that, keep an eye on that story. It's just continuing, we're continuing the same pattern as we have before. But Wall Street will start to really struggle and start to sort of collapse and possibly reflect the real economy within about a year or two or a couple years, or some people say 2017, 2018, whatever. Soon enough it'll reflect the real economy because it's going to be forced to. Not by the U.S. central banking system, but by the Eastern central banking system, as many have mentioned earlier, like Jim Sinclair, possibly Eric Sprott, Mark Faber, guys who are really, really in the know, and guys that many of you are familiar with when you watch CNBC and so on and so forth. So that is, of course, my summary of what is going on. So here's the final question. After everything I have just said, is the story of Obama being gay, is the story of Obama being gay really important? Is it? So, of course, please leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you guys later. Take care. God bless. And, of course, if you're from the sunny side of West Massachusetts, stay cool. Bye.